Yeah, welcome to this very interesting panel on sheHealth. sheHealth is something different from eHealth and from heHealth. It's about women in healthcare and about women in this field of eHealth and digital medicine. So we will talk today about will new trends like FemTech, women's health and female entrepreneurship break up established structures. And I will tell you something about established structures first. We have a very nice panel here with a lot of young women and one man. Welcome to you all. And they are all very successful in this field, and they will tell you something about what they developed in the last years in this area. So we had this panel last year as well, and it was the first time that we talked about women in healthcare and women in eHealth, in the eHealth field. And I like to wrap up a little bit what we about the things we talked last year. So I give you just a little overview of the conclusions we had. And yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, when we talk about German female doctors, we talk about many young women who are studying medicine in Germany. It's about 62% right now. And we have 170,000 working female doctors and much more male doctors in Germany. So 55% of those young ladies who are studying end up in working in this field as a doctor. And as you can see here, only 10% of these women will be in a leadership position afterwards. So beside that, if you compare the income of a doctor in Germany, like in the outpatient field, women earn 104,600 euros and men 168,000 euros. So this is a very new source from our German Society of Physicians, and I hope you are a little bit shocked. Yeah. Okay, next slide, please. Beside that, we have a lack of women who like to talk on a panel. Or do we have a lack of men who give us the opportunity to talk? We don't know yet. We try to change it. So as you can see here, this is a statistic or an analytics about the panels in the last few years about eHealth, and you can see that in the most conferences, just men talked about the eHealth, and beside that, they were the decision makers as well. So next slide. Next slide, please. No? Okay, today's world is a man's world, yeah? This is a picture of last year's winning award in North Rhine-Westphalia. There were several projects, IT projects, eHealth projects that won. This is the medication list in North Rhine-Westphalia, and this is a normal picture of projects, and you see just one woman and a lot of very, very nice, wonderful men, and they do the project with me. So the same with projects, and it's the same with not only projects, but products and product development as well. Next slide. But we have the next generation, X, Y, Z. These are my students at the CONHIT in Berlin. That's an IT fair for healthcare, and you see mostly women. 2 of them are here. So I hope the world will change a little bit in the next years. Next slide. So our questions today are, do we need special medicine and gender-neutral medicine and products for women? Do we need a gender medicine? Where do we find platforms for women in tech, and how can women become more visible in this field? And how can we support women leadership? And do we need a female quota in e-health? And I can tell you something about other countries where women are like in the leadership of e-health communities and e-health organizations like Austria, and they built the ELGA, and they have a platform for e-health, and in Germany there's a lack of commitment, cooperation, in my opinion, in this field, and perhaps women can change it a little bit if we change the leadership structure in Germany as well, and we have a quota in e-health. Next slide. So now we will discuss about this question, and I'd like to introduce to you first of all Katrin Reuter. She's the founder of Trackle and the CIO as well. And she has a presentation for us, a very short presentation on her product and her problems she faced with this.
Mainly on the product. Yeah, my name is Katrin Reuter. What we do, open the presentation for Trackle. Yeah. So what we do is creating, developing and selling a sensor for women who want to get pregnant or who want to avoid pregnancy, but not using hormonal contraception. This is based on tracking body core temperature. Can we have the next slide, please? And it's a sensor that's worn overnight. It automatically detects the individual basal temperature of the woman, and in our cloud structure, the values are processed, and then on an app, the woman can see whether she has a fertile day or a non-fertile day. That's a quite precise technique, a very secure technique for contraception as well as for women who want to get pregnant. Can we see the next slide? Ah, okay. Just roughly, that's the sensor, that's the app. This is not planned to be an advertising panel. So when I started this company, I wasn't aware of the fact how underrepresented women are in especially the tech field. So if you look into the statistics today, only 4% of tech startups are founded by women, while female entrepreneurships in 45% happens in the areas of entertainment and education as well. So I became very fast and very securely aware of the fact that I'm fully alone with a product which is made for women, which tackles a female issue, and which has, by the nature of it, to be developed by a woman, because it doesn't work. Of course, we need men as well for being part of our team, because diverse teams always get the better results. You know that, everyone can tell that, but still the environment is mainly man-dominated, especially in the tech field. So far from my own experience, and I would then hand over to you again.
Thanks a lot. This was the first product in this field, and now Lina Wüller. will introduce to us the next product. She's CAO of the OVI app.
Perfekt. Ja. So, dieses oder das benutzen? Nur das benutzen. Okay. Okay, hi everyone. Very happy to be here and to introduce you to our product. We just heard it's not going to be a very product-focused presentation, so I try and make it not very advertisingly, but I think it's important that, especially because this audience is represented by men a lot, that we give you a little understanding of what we do. So, yeah, my name is Lina. I'm the co-founder of OVI, and I co-founded the company with my sister, and this is our story. 2 years ago, I decided to quit the anti-baby pill because I was tired of taking hormones every day. So I started tracking my temperature every morning and applied the BBT method. Only 2 months later, I found out I was pregnant, unplanned. For my sister, on the left-hand side in me, it was obvious that the method we were applying was clinically proven and very well recognized, and that it must have been the way how I just documented my cycle was not quite correct. So we wanted to connect a device and app in order to make the whole temperature tracking and cycle tracking for women a lot easier. Also, what we were missing was that a lot of apps were actually calculating the basal temperature, but not other body signals. So we developed a Bluetooth thermometer, which you can see, and an app that connect directly in order to make the process easier. And this is how it works. The woman tracks her temperature every morning. She can either use the thermometer for vaginal or oral measurement. She tracks other body signals like cervical mucus or the cervix. And then most important, she also tracks interference factors, because that is what happened to me. I was not able to track signals or body signals that would interfere my method. We've launched last May, and we've already helped 60,000 women out there. We either help them to avoid pregnancy or to plan a pregnancy. And yeah, the women love the product, which we can see from the ratings we get, and we are so happy and can't wait to have another 60,000 women. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mrs. Wüller. The next presentation is about pregnancy diary, something like this, yeah? And Alenka Scholz and David Schärf will introduce us this product.
Okay, so let me quickly introduce ourselves. My name is Alenka Scholz. I'm a medical doctor and specialized in gynecology and obstetrics, so the very female part of medicine. And well, we developed the product Femisphere and products Femisphere and also iTouch. Yeah, thanks. So as a medical doctor, I saw that pregnant women have a huge lack of information, and about 30% of emergency care visits are unnecessary in pregnancy. It's just because women are well, wrongly informed or not informed at all. So they don't have a doctor that's reachable 24/7. They don't have a midwife, which is a huge problem right now in Germany, that women don't find midwives because there are too few midwives for too many pregnancies. And they search for advice at Dr. Google and will find wrong information or even non-information at all. So then we met my company colleagues, David Schärf and also Marco Gatti, who's not here today. He's expecting his first child. And we started to develop a product for pregnant women, which we call Femisphere, and it is on one side, part of it is learning about pregnancy. So we have a lot of articles and videos about pregnancy problems, but also legal advice and all what's important in pregnancy. And but also self-observation. So the woman is collecting data like blood pressure or blood glucose levels or even her weight and other body symptoms. And the second part of the product is that the woman can connect with her doctor, and the data is even reachable for her doctor. So especially for risk pregnancies, it can be very helpful that the doctor can see certain data in time to help get through the pregnancy. And also vice versa, the doctor can send data to the patient. So if he takes an ultrascan picture, he can send this to the woman, which of course they love. So, and then there's a third part of our product, which is the video consultation. So we have midwives and lactation consultants and also nutritionists who work for us, and which can be called in a video consultation, to help the woman with certain questions she has in pregnancy. So all these three parts are part of the product and helping the woman with smart guidance, and will lead to better outcomes of pregnancy and also lower costs during her pregnancy. Okay. So, and the second part will be my colleague.
Hello everyone, my name is David. I'm one of the co-founders and CEO of ONELIFE, and I just want to talk to you a little bit about the business side of things. So how do you get a digital health product into the market? How do you engage with clinics and insurances, which is our business model? We go very much into the B2B side of things. Of course, you can, as a user, upgrade in the App Store if you like, but if you're lucky, the clinic that you've decided to have your child in or your insurance is going to sponsor the cost of the premium version for you. So this is how we work. We work with clinics here in Germany, but also in the Middle East, as well as insurances, to enable access to women, to families, to our product, and enables them to make sure that therapies, in the case of risk pregnancies, for example, gestational diabetes, adds a lot of cost to the system, to lower those costs, to increase compliance for those therapies, at the same time engage with the young families, to enable them to bring the products that they have, the offers that they have for families, closer to them at the right moment in time. Quite proud of this. Apple thinks we develop a great product, which of course makes us very proud. And security is also a big aspect. If you're talking about digital health, about data that you're entering, is very personal data. So we really place a lot of effort on this, invest a lot of time and resources into making sure the product is safe, it's certified as a medical product, it's encrypted, of course, and the data is stored here in Germany. I think that's a very, very important fact for any company working in digital health. And I think we'll stop here and get into the panel. Yeah?
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, my first question is about your product and how did you design your product? Could it be that there's like a women-specific design, or do we have? Are there any special requirements on the usability, especially for women, or especially for women in this field? So, did you see that this is a product for women, or not only on the content, but for the usability aspect as well? So, first.
Well, as our product is a vaginal sensor, it's specifically designed for the usage of women. But there's another aspect to it. So we, at the very beginning, we decided that we want to have this issue and that topic of fertility management not only lying on the shoulders of every woman out there, but we also want to involve the partners, because there's always two involved. So the exact fertility status of the woman can be shared if she wants to in our partner app as well, so that the partner can see where the direction is going, whatever they plan to do or not to do. Of course, it's a women-centered product. It's a women's health issue that we're tackling, but we very heavily believe that it needs both sides and that it needs diverse teams to develop good products and tackle all the needs that are out there of families, of women, of men, of couples.
So what we've experienced when we first started our product was that, well, we were looking into the market and we saw that a lot of female products were actually developed by guys, especially like overseas. And yeah, for us, like when we were looking into the female market, where we are also in, and pretty much in the same field as Katrin just said, we found it so important, yeah, to get a lot of like female opinions involved. Our team is mainly of women currently, especially the hardware team, which we are doing with an external partner right now. That was also something which we found very interesting when we started our cooperation, that we wanted to make sure that the product that we developed was also developed with other women who can actually use it every day and who can actually have the experience of what is missing in the market.
Okay, so, well, obviously the female side of a product is diverse, and there are many aspects to it. So one aspect is the team, and also I can say for our team that it is diverse. We have men and women working for us, and we're also proud that we're a very family-friendly company. We have 5, almost 6 children without our small team, so I guess we know what we speak about it, we know about the needs, and especially from the female side. And concerning the design, obviously also we thought a lot about what colors do women like, for example, to develop the product. And usability is also a big aspect. We did a lot of product testing with female users, and well, try hard to consider their what they tell us. Yeah.
Okay, this is Maxi Knust. She is a little late.
Sorry.
Because of the traffic, I think.
Yeah.
And she will make her presentation in the at the end. Yeah, but now I just gave her the question, and she can answer the question as well.
Okay, well, just to tell a little bit about myself, I founded a digital magazine 3 years ago, which is targeting female entrepreneurs, so especially women. And as I heard, the question was, do we need special targeted women products or services? So I can't tell about like the product side so much, but you know, just from the publishing side, we target women because I don't know if you know the statistics. I will tell you later a little bit about this, but it's just 15% of startups being founded by women. So I feel there's still a huge need, you know, especially to, you know, kind of identify with the people, for example, you portray, like I do portray in the magazine. So usually I just see men, you know, in the startup stories, and I feel like I can't really identify with it. And I don't have so much role models, you know. It was actually male entrepreneurs that were my role models because there weren't just few women. So that's like my kind of, you know, mission and goal to kind of change that and just have like, you know, normal topics about like startups and entrepreneurship and just target women so they can, you know, kind of feel more empowered, more courageous to, you know, just dive in and step in into entrepreneurship or whatever you want to do.
Thank you. My next question is about, I heard some numbers like 4% of founders are women, and you said something about 15% 15%. And now my question is, do we need something like a network, like a women in tech network or women in e-health network, or should we try to have a network, or do you know any network that you should be part of it?
Well, I just have a quick start because I'm from Berlin, and there already is like a huge network of also female entrepreneurs just in general. You know, all the startup scene is like really connected there. It's kind of like a small family almost, but also women, you know, they know that it's so much worth to kind of, you know, network, because it's usually said to be something that men are better in, so they're better networkers, and women are like, you know, I just, you know, want to talk to like normal person, not, you know, having this goal to network or something. So it seems like a challenge, but like for me, and that's what we want to, you know, show that it's actually really easy if you know, kind of go with the flow sometimes and, you know, just talk like to people you feel kind of connected with. And so networking is easy, but we definitely need this to kind of also lift each other up. That's also be said, you know, women are, you know, like this, but, you know, actually we, you know, have kind of the sisterhood thing, kind of lift each other up as well as men do, and, you know, just in general support each other, you know, besides the gender topic.
Yeah, I agree. Networking is always a good thing. I don't care if I network with men or with women, as long as the advice is good and the person is good I'm talked to. But in general, it's important that women understand that there are other women, that they are working for them, with them, that it all makes sense, that it brings us forward together. And I especially think that young women and even pupils need to see that this is also an option for them to bring more diversity into the startup area, to see that there are a lot of women successful in tech jobs. And I just read that quote again, this very famous quote, "You can't be what you can't see." So it's all about visibility and making clear that women are there, and not only developing products for women, of course, that makes perfect sense, but also in every other area that's connected to technical jobs.
Just maybe some practical example. I've been in the tech scene for quite a few years now, and I've been heading to a lot of tech conferences during the last years, and I also was lucky that I got invited to little like smaller events, women only, and that was actually the events, no matter that I'm like designing a female product now, that were actually the events that really brought me further. And like speaking from the experience which I could gain during the last years, that is something which I would always recommend to other like founders or like women who want to start something, to team up with other people and like arrange like smaller meetups, because what I figured out is that women are so much more, or people in general, are just so much more open and like speak about experiences when it's in a smaller group, whereas when you go like to tech conferences or bigger like events, it's usually very anonymous, and you don't get that much out of it as when you're like sitting together in a smaller group. So, and I think that is what everyone can do. Like you can just arrange like a dinner or something with like 8 or 10 girls or women, and yeah, just exchange yourself, and that is so easy to handle.
Well, networking obviously is very important also for women. I also don't think that we're so much worse in it than men. But I would really also like to address to the men, because as a mother, I know that it is also very important that men see that networking and being a founder and an entrepreneur is very important also for women. So within families, I think it is very important that you have a strong man behind you to also take care of the children and help women get on stage.
Just one practical example. I've heard great things about Sheryl Sandberg, who's the CEO of Facebook. She's got a movement called Lean In. It's an international movement. It's very crowd motivated. I think they've got things called circles. even here in Germany, and I hear great things. Obviously, I'm not invited, but I hear it's a great way to organize and mentor women amongst each other. I think it's something worth looking into.
And there are other initiatives and organizations that deal with this issue as well, like the Healthcare Women and the Ada Lovelace Festival. I don't know if you heard about it. Or I just found a group at Xing, e-health experts, just for women, e-health experts, you're invited. Or the Speakerinnen, what you just saw. And women in tech. If you work with Twitter, you can just like see what they do. Women in tech. So there are several networks, but I think they have to be kind of connected, or they need more public relation. We try to work together with the software vendors as well, and we will have a huge network event for women at the next ConHit in April in Berlin. That's the fair for healthcare IT. So I invite you. So my next question is about leadership. So what do you think? What do we need that we have more women leadership? What could we do? Because you are leaders right now, but could you help other young women to be leaders? To be brave?
Well, to start here, I think, yeah, the one point is to have role models, of course, see women on the top, see them, being successful, but still also, female. Because when I started, I thought, I have to be, kind of male-ish, have to be, having more the man traits, or, maybe dress up like a man or something, not be, feminine. So I think this is, being authentic, for each of us, also for men, of course, I think that's also the future for leadership just in general. And I would probably call it more like mindfulness leadership. So, it's kind of changing the structures in the companies. And we need more, mindful leadership, actually. And I think, women have like strength that are really good fitting to the future expectations of like companies. So they can bring in so much worth actually, because they are more, in the team building, and that's a good thing. So that's my opinion about like female leadership.
I slightly disagree with what you just said. I don't think that there's any biological or genetic reason that differs men and women in how they do leadership. It's not true that women have specific skills that differ from what men do when they lead teams. Both can develop what's needed to be good leaders. The question is more from a structural perspective, where do the new leaders come from? Why do so many women decide for a career that is not tech-specific? Why do they, in a very, very early age, decide to study medicine, but then accept the fact that they earn only 2/3 of what men earn? So I believe that it's a structural and a question of the society on how to support young women in making a career.
Well, yeah, I guess that's can be a deep discussion, thinking about if there are genetically or biologically reasons why women do leadership differently. I would say they do, but of course it's very difficult to distinguish, is it genetic or also how we are brought up. So, but I think you see certain differences at a very early age that sort of are not explainable just by how you're brought up. So, but for me, leadership is not so much about a role model. It's more about getting rid of gender role models. So, I think it shouldn't be important if you're a woman or a man. You should be able to do the same things.
I think for me it's all about culture. I think leadership begins with culture, and it's important that you implant the right DNA into the company right from the beginning. I think very famous example of where it went completely wrong was Uber, right? Uber was a very man-dominated company with many scandals, and it almost went wrong. I think they're about to come back now, but instead of hiring a CEO now, I think would have sent a female CEO, which I think would have sent the right message to everybody, to the company, to the outside world, to the investors. Again, they hired a man, which I think was a big mistake. So again, I think it's about culture. I think it's about putting it into the beginning of where you start out.
Okay, our last question is about the possibility to have a quota in e-health. So I don't know, I just know one woman who is a CIO, CTO or CDO, Chief Digital Officer in a university hospital in Aachen, that's Silke Haferkamp, but I don't know any other. And I think there are about 2,000 or 3,000 CDOs in Germany already, and all those organizations who are in charge of e-health and infrastructure have CDOs and CIOs that are male. So what do you think? Do we need a quota on this or not? Or just let it go like it is, and someday we will have like more power in this field? And why is Germany so weak in the e-health field?
I just grabbed the microphone because actually that is something which really bothers us at the moment. So we were like in the last 6 months. One of our focuses was to build our own tech team internally. And that is actually one of the biggest challenges I've ever faced. First of all, because you need to find the right people to have this cultural fit. But second of all, in the beginning, we were developing our app with a male-only team, because that was just due to the fact that there were no women in the team who we worked with. And it was so interesting because it took so long to really explain what our product is about, and it took so long for them to really understand and implement it in the right way. They did a great job in the end, and we are so happy that they supported us. It was really a great journey together. But what my sister and I decided was that we definitely need a female leader when it comes to our tech part. We still haven't found her yet. We have great developers, but that is a big challenge, and something that we totally agree to, that especially when you build a female product, that it's so important that you get someone involved who has this pain and who can understand what you're going through and what you need to design for other women.
To directly come back to your question whether we need a quota for e-health especially, of course we do. We need a quota everywhere, not only in e-health. Why should it be different in the e-health sector than anywhere else? It just didn't work out over the last years by just sitting and waiting. Surprisingly, the boys didn't open the doors. And of course we do.
Well, I have another opinion. Of course, we need to make like a lot of effort to make a change. So it's really important. Don't get me wrong, but I'm really not sure, because I talked to a lot of women about this as well, and of course, mixed opinions as well. And some say, when you have the quota, men will tell you, you didn't earn the position, it's just because of the quota you're there. And because women actually work so hard, just also already now even harder sometimes, to reach the same level. And sometimes you have the, glass ceiling, and, you get pregnant, and, you're kind of, your career is kind of, broke. And that shouldn't be the case, to be honest. But I don't know if it's really about the quota that makes the change, but also maybe more about the culture thing. So we're coming back to this, and for like me, culture, like the female part is one part of the culture, and it's about, how also the like work environment, are there more possibilities for flexibility? So I see like a lot of women, starting to be, their own business, having their own business, being self-employed, because they have more flexibility, because, they can get, their baby, work from home, work maybe, when they have a nap, the babies, or in the evening, and it's possible. So like I just published a book with my co-founder, and she got a baby when we started with the project, and I saw it's, you know, it can work, you know, if you work maybe more digital or find, you know, co-working space, whatever. There's so much, you know, options actually. So, and you know, in Berlin I see, you know, all the options, and I know, you know, if you're in a specific area, maybe sometimes it feels like, oh, it's not going to change, we need the quota and that's it. But I think, you know, if you kind of, you know, change all the working environment options and just, you know, the cultural aspects, it's also going to help a lot about this. But yeah.
So I also disagree with the idea of a quota. I think it's, for what you said, I fully agree with. It's just not the right way to incentivize and also to then reinforce the standing that women have gotten to reach that level. I think what is a lot more important is that we should empower and embrace women who are ready to fund their own companies. I think there should be a fast track to funding for women. I think there's this whole frat feeling to you, the way you get investments. It's very male dominated, all the VCs are males. I think that should change, and I'm not sure if politics can intervene here and incentivize some change in this way, but I think that's, for me, rather the way to go than to introduce quotas to have artificial leadership. I think it needs to come from the bottom, and there are great women out there, and they just need to get a bit more support and a bit more push at the beginning.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all. In the end, we have our last presentation on the new journal. I didn't know this journal before, but we will all have a look on it right now, and Maxi Knust is now doing her presentation.
Genau, einmal die Präsentation aufmachen, bitte. So I actually expected to have like a little talk here, so it was a little bit, yeah, preparing something. So I just have probably some minutes, so I will switch through a little bit. And as I mentioned, I'm more about the topic female entrepreneurship. So I don't really have so much to do with like health topics, but just in general, you know, the startup scene in Germany, and so that's kind of, you know, where I'm an expert. So I want to go into the question about like female entrepreneurship. So a little bit about me. So as I said, I published like in 2015 the digital magazine, and then I met through networking my co-founder who, yeah, as I said, got pregnant, got a baby, and we kind of, you know, found each other, and we were like, we want to empower even more women, because we also had the topic like quota or maybe some culture stuff. And like I thought a lot about this, just in general, like about driving change. And like for me, female was one part of it, or like yeah, women empowerment and entrepreneurship. Yeah, so I thought, you know, kind of empowering, it helps, you know, having inspiration. Like for me, when I go maybe, you know, to bookstore and find like an inspiring book about entrepreneurship just in general. So I read Richard Branson's autobiography, and, you know, kind of this stuff was inspiring to me. But for me, you know, the female role models were missing, and for my co-founder as well. So we did the Female Founders book, and we released it this summer actually. But what I wanted to talk more about is just giving, you know, some numbers about the situation, like the status quo. So as I said, it's like 15% of the startups being founded are founded by women. So it's still, you know, 85%. And for me, like, you know, entrepreneurship is the key to make change, actually. I think it started, you know, already some years ago. People were thinking, okay, entrepreneurship can drive change. So for me, it's really important that women are part of this. So otherwise, we have more like, again, the male-dominated culture. And we don't have, you know, much women that, you know, be part of this change. But also what, you know, not many people know, that there are 9% higher revenues by women-owned businesses. So actually, you know, if you invest in a woman, you know, it's a really good investment. And what we also had on stage is that I think like really 90 or 99% of the investors are men. So it's also difficult sometimes for women, businesses funding money. So if you're here an investor, invest in a woman, it's really good. And the topic is because everyone asks, why is this situation? Why is it like 15%? We're already in 2017. We have the equal situation. We have the same rights. And I'm like, yeah, well, we do have the same rights and options and so on. But still, especially in Germany, I can't speak about other countries so much, but I think in the Western countries, it's more about the mindset. And so again, we are, at the cultural point. So making change, starts with you actually, with yourself and your mindset, and each of us, like men, women, and in between. And the topic is that it's 60% of women, they feel they don't have, enough skills. They don't feel they don't have, enough knowledge or money to start something, But in the end, they have really good, university graduates and so on, have so much good skills, but they don't, feel it. So I feel like a topic of, bringing up women, in society, how you, see men and women. And there are stereotypes, I would say, and they inhibit women still kind of, just jump in, just do it. And men are more, kind of courageous. Sometimes they're like, fuck it, I do it. Women are like, I don't know, I'm overthinking sometimes. So that's something, and that's why, I'm in the inspiration field. So just about the quick topic, entrepreneurship, our generation, the young one, the 20 to, I would say, 40 years, the Gen Y, they are much more purpose-driven. So if they're in a corporate company and they don't see that they can make so much change there, they don't see their purpose in their work. There are a lot of people starting, their own businesses to kind of, having their own purpose in work and maybe driving some change. And especially, as I said, for women, it's one of the motivation to start your own business, because it's sometimes difficult in a corporate, to manage the work and life balance in the end. So that's why entrepreneurship is so important, just in general. Bring up new ideas and make it real. And there's this saying you probably know: be the wish you want to see in a world. And if it's not there yet, so if you're in a health environment and you have an idea but it's not there yet, I would say go ahead and create it. You are the person that can make this change. And so the question is also how women can make a change, when we talk about female entrepreneurship. And I would say it's a man's world yet. But I feel there's so much change going on, and it's such a good time actually for women to step forward, to go on stage. Having this, 5 women, on stage, it's not, so often actually. The speakers, it's mostly male-dominated, but it's because of the topic. And I see women here sitting, and at this really male-dominated fair, to be honest. So, and one thing I want to tell you, just in general, is because sometimes as women, we feel we are, not okay. We are maybe, I don't know, too emotional. I know it's stereotype. But one thing for all of us is, to acknowledge that you're okay like you are. And maybe just to have a look more on your strength, not the weaknesses, not what you're missing, but more, what you're good in it. And, just focus on that and even grow it more. And just for women in health, so as I said, we made this book, the Female Founders book, and we interviewed 30 female founders in Germany, Switzerland, and Austria. And one of them was Maxi, and she created this Ruby cup, maybe you know this menstruation cup. And I think where's the opportunity for women, just to give an example, is that they understand the needs even more. And they can create products that are maybe more, even better. It's more not so much waste, and it's much more healthier for your body. And I didn't know about this before I met her. But this is part. Also, they have this project in Africa. When women have their period, they can't go to school actually, and they don't have good stuff to kind of cover this. So women or girls don't get the education. So that was a drive for them to start this Ruby Cup idea. And then they sold in Germany and had this 2-for-1 idea and made social entrepreneurship out of this. So that's just in general one one example. And also, like I said, the new work topic, we will have so much more artificial intelligence, robotics, and also the digitalization topic. It's like really growing here in Germany as well, and we will have so much change. And I would just want to tell you, as women in health, it's like a good opportunity, and sometimes it feels like, so much surrounded maybe by men, and maybe like they have like their kind of, stuff to work, but also just like you are bringing in, where you're stronger at, that's, really making the change. So I just wanted to inspire you just a little bit, and yeah, if you're interested in this topic, in the book, you can order it on our website, and if you want to get in contact with me, you have my email address, Instagram, Twitter, and you find me actually all across social media. And yeah, if you have any questions, just come later and we can talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maxi. So we have 2 more minutes. Yeah, thank you. We have 2 more minutes to have a question or two from the audience. Yes, please. Yeah.
You talked earlier about quota, and some of you were disagreeing and some of you were agreeing about quota, but my question is, how do you expect the culture to change if we don't enforce quotas and showing that women can lead actually companies and change directly inside the company? How do you think we can change the culture without enforcing it?
First stab at that. I think there's always 2 ways to motivate people. There's the carrot and the stick. Quota is a stick, clearly. And I think that's the wrong way to motivate companies or people, right? So I think there should be incentives created, carrots created to enforce this cultural shift, this gender shift. I think that's important.
And within the projects of the European Union, like the H2020 projects, they force us to have women in the leadership positions and to win these projects. So in Europe, we are much farther than in Germany in this field.
I don't know where you're from. Are you from Germany or Europe or?
I'm French, but I live in China.
French. Okay, so I don't know about China, for example, but just in general, like how I see it in Germany, like all the big companies, and the traditional ones, there's so much, being forced for change or to change because, of all the changes that are already going on, and there's so many, branches, they kind of disrupt. So that's the word, in the startup scene, and I think because of that, companies will, need to see, because they have like this changing, the deep where they need to see, how to react, what to change. And one part is like they need to change their culture and their perspective towards women, what's possible, and also their whole working environment. And I think so it will be, from the bottom up to be the change actually.
I have a question.
Can I maybe just quickly answer? I fully agree with you. When there is no woman, they can't change the culture. And we've seen for many, many years now that it doesn't work with just voluntarily incentivation. It just doesn't work. It didn't work for the last 5 years. The voluntarily agreements just haven't been fulfilled. And if the numbers show that it doesn't work the one way, then it should work the other way.
Oh, hi. My question is to the lady who presented to you.
Yep.
Love your book. It's a very nice idea to put together these excellent women. You made a comment that, the culture is male-dominated. And I would like to tell you that, believe me, if it gives me happiness to see so many women sitting on the stage and talking about entrepreneurship, being a man, nothing is more inspiring for me. So it's not really correct to say that and to kind of reaffirm that, it's a male dominant. It's not. It's what we make it out to be. And there are a lot of men out there who are ready and cheer with you for every step you take. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I would like to add that I think the men that are standing here and sitting here, they are like, the hope I have for the future. And we need more men, like you, to be honest, because you're interested in this topic. You're willing to hear about this and you're willing to talk with us about it and discuss and being open with it. And we need, so it's not about only role models in the women's field, but also in the man's field. So I'm, just for the women's side, and yeah, we need men that, are role models as well and show that it's possible also in the private, in the relationships when you have kids, also staying at home, really supporting your partner equally. I think we need more of this.
Thank you. I think these are very, very nice words to end up this session. And okay. And I'd like to invite you to talk to us later. And I hope that we will see us together at some event on women's health and on women's tech issues. And hope to see you again. Thank you all for listening to us, and see you again somewhere else.